So today, let's try to solve at least very basic two examples. Okay, so it's something like, though I didn't work in real time, but it has a lot of potentiality. You will see many startups and companies who have not much budget, but they are doing really a lot of good data engineering work. So they are using Spark as a service. Okay, so right now we are seeing this complete ages. Every software is available as a cloud version of the same. Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Office, it's completely now available on cloud. You can just access that service from a browser. Similarly, if you have heard about like Adobe also trying to make all these systems available on cloud, but it will take a lot of time for them. So all this Photoshop and all these things, they are very costly softwares, right? So that's why they're trying to create the cloud version of the same so that its price will be drastically reduced. Same thing happened for the Microsoft Office also. Once they started providing cloud version of the same, so it became the price also reduced drastically because you don't have to require a big machine like a system with at least good amount of RAM, and then only Microsoft Office will work uh, clearly. Otherwise, it will be slow. You can't just use Office with a laptop of 1 GB RAM. It's very difficult. It's very slow. So the idea here is basically everything will be running on their machine. Okay, so earlier they were providing a software and you have to install it, and you should be having the computation resource to process that. Okay, so same with Adobe, Photoshop and all. It requires very huge machines, good at least good machines to work with those kind of softwares. So this company started understanding the potentiality of cloud. So now everything is browser based. Browser is a kind of mini computer. You should be able to do all these things using your browser only. So without exception, Spark is also one of the very growing and very popular distributed computation framework. So we have seen one such service called Databricks. Databricks is the pioneer in this area. They started Spark as a service. They created this notebook environment. You don't have to do all this setup in your local computer. So like every time you start any project, a lot of things you have to do. Like you have to do the setup of all these softwares. Like you are using IDs and IntelliJ. You have to create a Git repository. You have to build a CI/CD pipeline. You have to basically make the you have CI/CD pipeline, and all this stuffs you have to do. All these steps you have to do. Then join. Okay, so apart from the actual work, there are a lot of like engineering work is there. Okay, so apart from the data engineering part, a lot of engineering stuff is there, like doing everything setups and all, and data test and all these different branches and all these things are there. So to avoid that, to make the things happen very quickly, so for startups and all, or companies who do a lot of analytics very dynamically. So for them it will be a challenge. It will be time consuming to do all these setups again and start doing the development. Rather, what they're doing, so they're basically looking for some Spark as a service option. Like you don't have to do all these setups and all. You don't have to require a big machine to do all these things. And the company is not able to provide machines with 16 GB RAM and all this, or Mac machine. Rather, they can give you a basic laptop. And since everything has to be done, all cloud platforms can be utilized using browser only. So that's why you simply need a browser that should be sufficient to proceed with your work. Okay, so Databricks Notebook user, Databricks is one of the platform which is a very popular, and similarly AWS Glue is also doing pretty good because AWS Glue is not just Spark. So if you compare for Spark as a service for Databricks is the best one. But if you take the other things, if you consider the other things, like you require a database. For that, AWS has RDS system. You require say any Docker configuration. So you have AWS EKS. You have any MPP database requirement. You have AWS Redshift, Athena, and all this. So there are hundreds of services available. Okay, so in a typical enterprise, any organization, whatever the softwares they require, all these are available as service in AWS. So obviously, without any exception, they also give it a try for Spark as a service. Okay, so you can, so the plug and play will be very easy. But for Databricks and all, you have to still do a handshaking between third-party systems. Like some database is sitting there in Google Cloud, some other system is sitting there in Azure Cloud, and all these things. A lot of third-party handshaking has to be required. Okay, but here everything is on-premise. Okay, in AWS, you just, if you're looking for any service, any software, everything is available on-premise. Okay, you don't have to move your data from one platform to another platform and all this. So things are very easy and very straightforward if you are using the same thing on AWS. Okay, so let's start with one. So Glue is basically a similar Spark as a service. It will give you a text area kind of option. There you'll be writing your Spark code, and you will simply click execute. And in the backend, everything is abstracted. Like you don't have to specify, you don't have to create a EMR cluster, you don't have to create a Cloudera cluster, nothing. You simply write the code, you execute it, it will be executing in the backend. It will add the computation resource. You have the option to tweak it, but you can do that. Okay, so same disclaimer, I'm not a pro. I just tried few examples, and I'm giving you that example. So like if you're trying for lead developer roles and all, so it's a good learning. And in fact, like we should know multiple aspects of the same framework, so that things will be easy for us. We can relate multiple things, so when we can, for a given problem statement, we can think in multiple angles. Okay, so that's why I'm just covering this part. Okay, so we will be using AWS Glue. Okay, let's start with that. So before that, we have to create some IAM roles and all. So okay, let's create a role. It is create role. Okay, and you should see Glue here. Select Glue. Next, permissions. Okay, so what are the permissions we require? We require AWS S3 full access. Okay, and so what are the type of examples we'll be trying? We'll see a couple of data ingestion problems, one data ingestion problem and one data curation problem. So in the data ingestion part, we will be seeing one example where we'll be simply reading data from Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, we'll be reading data from Amazon S3 bucket, and we'll be reading data from Amazon S3 bucket, and we'll push it to Redshift database. Okay, I'm assuming everybody is having their AWS credentials. All these AWS services already pre-set up. So AWS S3 full access, then of course Glue full access, Glue service role, and the Glue service role is required.
Siddharth, is the Glue a free service or a paid service? Siddharth?
I think it's free in AWS. Everything is paid, right?
Uh, Siddharth, one more thing I want to tell. For me, Redshift is not working. Before you start, I want to tell. I was having some problem.
Okay, we'll see that. Okay, then shift. AWS Redshift full access. Yeah, if we just keep backlogs, things will trouble us. S3 full access, Redshift full access, AWS Blue Service role, yeah, that's it. And we have to use a fixed name, that is AWS Blue Service role. So let's use the same name what I'm giving because it has some dependency like that. AWS Blue Service role, yeah, that's it. These are the 3 services we require, and then create this. So what's your problem with Redshift you're saying?
I told you, right? You told me to uninstall the DVVR and again install it to do that. You remember?
Okay, so
Repository download is the problem.
let's quickly see the database is running or you terminated it.
No, it's running.
If it is running, then it should be fine. So just observe this carefully because I'll be giving a couple of assignments on this. Okay, this is running, and you have dbeaver installed or you uninstall it?
It is there. I didn't uninstall.
Okay. Okay. No worries. So it has an inbuilt query editor. I'm assuming you have followed the same test.db, username master, password is temp1234.
Test 1, 2, 3. I have given.
1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4?
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Not temp, Siddharth. Test.
Test, correct.
Okay.
Oh, test, right? T-E-S-T. T capital.
Yeah.
Okay, no tables available in public schema. That's fine. Let me quickly send you a few tables I created. Okay, I just sent you. Post that what you have to do. Okay, so post that what you have to do. Yeah, service role we have created. Then one tricky thing is there. That is since the data will be moving to and fro between Amazon S3 bucket and Redshift, we have to create a S3 endpoint. For that, VPC. Kamal, you can help me. You are doing some architect level course here, right? You create an endpoint on S3. Create endpoint. Okay. Okay, post that. We can go to subnets and also to Redshift. Here the subnet ID. Okay, so PC CAP 240B3. CAP 240B3. All are this. Okay, cool.
Everything will be in the same VPC only, right?
Yeah, everything is the same VPC. Again, like I'm saying, like I'm not 100% sure, but
Okay.
example what I saw, which requires us to create a basically we have to create a endpoint for Amazon S3 bucket because Glue wants to talk to it, want to read data from S3 and write data to Redshift. That's the whole reason behind.
So maybe I think then S3 endpoint is different, I guess. Not this is VPC endpoint you created. The S3
Yeah.
endpoint.
But you saw, no, means if you saw when I created, I just use S3 information only. I just clicked create endpoint, and here I selected S3. This one, this gateway. Okay, so that's the because for different services, different service are there. So I selected this service.
Okay.
So security group, can we see here? Yeah. We have to create a security group. Self. Only one, correct. Let's create the security group. The security group is created now. Okay, so then edit inbound row. Add all TCP custom. Oh, so we have to first select this. After this, inbound row. Edit inbound row. Okay, that's it. Now basically what we have to do, you have to go to the same Redshift cluster. Okay. And we have to add that security group again. Modify cluster. You can see here this is also appearing. Can you click control and select self? I'm unable to do it.
Default you need?
Yeah, both. Now we have test. TST test 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think we are sorted. So we just did all these setups. Now I think we are good to go ahead with the blue example. Okay, so let's see this example. So we just added the necessary security group and endpoints. Now we are good to go ahead with the blue example. Get started. So here basically the concept is, so in a typical data pipeline, you first do the data ingestion from heterogeneous sources and co-locate it in a staging area. Then basically you read the data from the staging area and then do your data curation and make the data available for the end users to be used, right? That's the general flow of a typical ETL pipeline. Here, for every other data ingestion, you have to create different crawlers. Okay, as the name suggests, it will crawl data from pretty much any kind of sources. All this, it supports like all JDBC, S3 bucket and all this. You can create crawlers, okay, read data from this particular system. Okay, so you just mention, so suppose you want to read data from S3, you want to read data from RDS, MySQL, you want to read data from Redshift. For that all, you have to create crawlers. Okay, and also let me quickly send you that file. I just made a small change in that particular file, create transaction. The date format was malformed, so I just created that file again. So let me quickly send you this file. Transaction.csv, you can just skip it. Can you quickly download this file and put it into S3 bucket? Yes, sir. I just sent you that.
Siddharth, I am not able to see my browser also.
Oh, okay.
Could you please go to my WhatsApp window? I can do that after that.
Okay, so let's quickly go there. Let's download this file. Okay, so I think it's going to your download folder. Yeah, this is download folder. Let's go to our S3 again. So Vakar, you're up to date, right?
Yes.
So Pratik, you just observe carefully. I have a couple of things to be done. So just help me if you have bandwidth. Which bucket you are using?
Jayadash, yeah, that one.
Okay, you tried that logger thing?
I tried.
It's working for S3.
S3 it is working, but I want to just integrate it with your streaming example. I was doing that.
Okay, but for Dataframe example, it's working, right?
Dataframe it is working.
Okay, so
You want me to drag and drop?
do that. That logger thing, I'll just set it for some time to see that. Yeah. So now, as I mentioned, like we have to create a couple of crawlers, right? So we just have to add crawlers. Okay, I'm giving a crawler name, say file name is create transaction. So I'm giving say create transaction S3. Okay, any random name you can give. So file name is create transaction and it's reading from S3. Okay, crawler source type is data sources. Choose source. You can see these are the different sources you can read data. S3 all RDS using JDBC DynamoDB. Okay, and the specified path, you can click this folder icon and expand this. So you should see create transaction. Next, add another data store. No. Choose existing IAML. We have created AWS Glue service. This is coming here. Next, So how frequently you want to run. So you can see it's saying hourly, you can choose a day, weekly, you can schedule it. But for this example, every time I click it, it should run. That's why I'm saying run on demand. Okay, click next. Then we have to create a database here. For every other data set, we have to create different database. Okay, you read data, even you have 10 files there in S3, so you have to create 10 different databases. I don't know why it is like that, but it's there. So say I'm saying create txmtp, create transaction db, create. So any prefix you want to give. So since the data I'm reading from S3, so I want to prefix with S3 underscore. So then next, click finish. Oh, we did a bad thing. Okay, no worries. So we have to create a classifier before that. Classifier is basically for every other data set. If that data set is having a couple of other formats, create transaction, say less. So you'll get to know. So every time you're reading that data, so there are some features, like if you remember in Dataframe examples, you want to read data from Amazon S3 bucket or any different system, it is a CSV file. So you have to provide option header, true, option delimiter, tilde, like that. So those options basically we have to add here as a classifier. Okay, so every time you read a data, it's having certain properties. And if it is different, if it is not normal, comma and all, you have to provide all these details. Okay, for me, like my delimiter is tilde, and double quote this thing. Okay, detect headers, no, has headings. I'm saying has headings, and I have to provide the control over create transaction. I just read this file. Okay, so just use this new file. Okay, don't use the old file, because you can see the date I just formatted it. It was earlier not 2-digit date, so it was one digit date. So just change it. So comma separated column names I have to provide. Create. Okay, let me see if I can add this or not. I can add that crawler or not. Edit crawler. Next, this. It's not showing here. Let's see. I think it's there. You can just add this crawler. That's it. So add this classifier to this particular crawler, so that when it will start crawling data from that thread transaction.csv from S3 bucket, it will use those information. Okay, for the schema identification and all this. Okay, so it's created. You can run it. You can just click here and run crawler. Okay, crawler will not actually do the crawling of the data. It will simply just do the handshaking. It will see like what is the type of data there in the S3 bucket, and it will identify its schema. Okay, just think like it's a Hive metastore. It's trying to create the metastore for that particular file. Okay, so that is there. So you can say the status starting and all these things you can see. So we can just go ahead with the next thing. Let it do this thing. Now we want to read data from Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, so every source and destination, every source and target, you have to create crawlers for. Okay, so that And using crawlers, you can just create jobs. Read data from one system, write it to another system, like that. Okay, so whatever data sets you are reading from, so or writing to, you have to create the respective crawlers. Okay, I'm just adding a connection here. Connection, say Redshift con to the database engine, database Redshift. Okay, it's giving all these systems, right? You can even read data from Kafka also. So cool stuff. Okay, so it's a many people started using this. Okay, in fact, in our group, Rupesh is there. Sorry, Deepak is there. Deepak, he's working in Infosys, but luckily he got a chance to work on Delta Lake, Blue, everything. Okay, this is there. So it will automatically show you. If you have cluster, it will show all this thing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you just created a connection object here. Now just go to crawlers again. So it's already done, and it's saying it's already done. So crawler has just identified the metadata, and it's stopping. Now we can create another crawler. So saying create transaction Redshift. Okay, create transaction Redshift. Security group, nothing, no classifier. Go to next. Next. Data will be reading from JDBC only. Connection type Redshift. Include path. You have to provide the table name in this format: database / schema / table. Database name for us is testdb / public / what is that name? Create transaction. Okay. Next. Run on demand. Database name, it will again ask. It's asking to choose the old one, but let's not do that. Create transaction. Redshift. I'm using this database name. Okay, I'm giving sub prefix as Redshift for better readability. That's it. Finish. Okay, I think when we created this connection, we forgot to test it. Let's quickly test if the connection is correct or not. Using the same IAM role. It will take a while.
Demand like that we configured, right?
That is for that particular crawler. Okay, so assume like in the same S3 folder. So files just keep on getting appended. Okay, as different date folder. So you want your crawler to crawl that data, just map that particular data with the already created metastore. Getting my point? That when you want to do it daily. Suppose daily files are getting added to that S3 bucket, and midnight you want to run this crawler automatically. Okay, or it's basically files are getting added every now and then, and how do you want to map this data with the existing metastore or the schema? You want to do it hourly, you want to do at what frequency you want to do. That is basically the significance of scheduling that particular crawler. Okay, scheduling Spark job, that is something different. We'll see that later. So we can create a EMR cluster and run the job on top of that. That you can schedule it using Clouders. Okay, but here the crawler, like how frequently you want to crawl the data from that source. Okay, that is the here. So you can see Redshift connection is correct. It's done. You can run this crawler.
So Siddharth, can we create a single crawler to just read data and write to Redshift?
You should be able to, because you can see it's showing option, right? When you are creating, it's saying you want to add another source and all. You can add um, multiple systems in one crawler also.
Okay.
Maybe in the next batch only I'll be able to answer more questions. I just need to connect with more people who are working on Glue in real time. It's a good stuff actually. If you're working for startups and all, they have fund restriction budget, restricted budget. They can make use of this kind of systems extensively. It will take a while again.
The setups and all we have to do, or it is the part of the DevOps?
Yeah, that's the DevOps thing. That's why I'm not covering that much. I just show you how you, if you want to test it by your own, how to do that. That's why I never use my own account also, because that biasness happens too. If you just set up in one account, if you reset up in the same account, most of the things I've done previously, so I'll not notice. That's why I just use a different account to do this thing again. And I did the same thing so that other people can also follow the steps and replicate this. Okay, that is there. So we just created two crawlers and we'll be creating a job there. And that job, what it will do, it will read data from this Amazon S3 bucket and write it to Redshift. Okay, for this read and write process, it will require crawlers. Okay, you have to tell, yeah, this crawler. I got your point, Kamal. You are saying like you can directly create a crawler that will read and write data to Redshift. That is not happening. But rather here we created two different crawlers. You would have like created one crawler also. That is true, but it will not do everything. That data ingestion will not happen on the fly. You have to write a job for that. Okay, you have to write a job for that. Then only things will happen. So it's basically blue jobs are basically nothing but once making use of multiple crawlers to do the data ingestion or data curation. Okay, the crawler crawl the data. So now we are good. So let's see if things are correct or not. You can go to job, add a job. Say I'm giving a name, say um, S32 exit. Okay, it supports all Spark with Python as well as. So first of all, like it's not just Spark. It's not just it doesn't only support Spark. You can see it also supports normal Python job. Okay, so you have some data ingestion activity which can be done using standalone Python program, that also you can do here. And Spark streaming both are. Earlier streaming was also not there. Now streaming is also there. That means people are using. That's why only these people are doing the development. For sure, it's being used widely. In fact, you can just Google search or YouTube search AWS Glue talks. AWS has this reInvent series. If you remember, I mentioned earlier. AWS reInvent series is nothing but they just organize different events where the organizations who are using their service, they give real demonstration. They genuinely explain, yeah, we are using glue in this particular kind of pipelines. They will show you proper real-time examples. So there are a lot of events out there on this. So that means it's a pretty active community. So things are, you can see they are also doing the pretty aggressive development. So Spark, and it supports both PySpark as well as Spark with Scala, no Java and all. So you got to know, right? Means what's the requirement of Scala and Python. So first it was only Scala available. Later they added Python also. So we are using the latest version of Spark. So we are saying we'll simply use a UI tool, but again, like it has option to, you can write a script and pass it, or you can So for now, I'm not writing any script. I'm just simply using a proposed script will automatically generated. I'll provide the information, necessary information, and it will create the script by its own. So it's showing all these systems. Choose the data source. Data for my source is S3. I'm selecting that source. Change schema. Choose data target and using this particular target. It will automatically, people from Informatica background, you can relate it. It's showing this mapping. You can add all these things. I didn't try, but you can give it a try how to add column, remove column, and all this. But you can see this is pretty much like it's creating. This is the source side column names. One thing you see from the source side when you just crawl the data, it crawled the data as date, but here in the Redshift I created string. I was trying to create a date, but I was not able to. Maybe you can give it a try. The Redshift table, what I just shared with you, I created this as varchar, but you can change with date and retry the same example. That will be assignment for you, Pratik. You can just try this. Then I just created the script for us. And then we can run this job. It will take a lot of time because in the backend it creates a EMR cluster to run the job. But yeah, you can copy this code and you can see how it looks like also. Okay, it creates this glue job, just like you can see Scala object it has created inside that main function text array of string. It created the Spark context, then it created glue context. They have created a wrapper around Spark context called glue context by passing the Spark context as a parameter. And let's remove this junk comment lines. It just created the glue context and ARJ says glue argument parser get resolved options, something I have literally no clue. It's basically using some temporary directory for its own processing and all. Then it's initializing a job. Then it just created the data source, first data sources. So these are not like your data frames, rather this is called dynamic frame. Okay, just like in Spark, we are using data frame. They created a wrapper around data frame and they're calling it as dynamic frame. So glue context.get catalog source. Get catalog means every time we're creating a crawler, no, it's creating the schema inside the glue catalog. Okay, that schema. Database is create transaction DB, table name is S3 underscore, create transaction CSV, here set temporary directory is empty, transformation context is the same source name, 0. Okay. Data source 0 and then, sorry. And the last statement is get dynamic frame. So you are creating a dynamic frame in line number. You are just creating a dynamic frame in line number, this 20, and then you are calling get dynamic frame. So it will be creating a dynamic frame for you. Then you have to put the mappings. Okay, so all these columns, you have to specify the column name, data type, and the mapping column name. It's not necessary that always whatever the column name appearing in the CSV file, that will be the column name in the glue catalog. You can change that also. In the glue catalog, you can give different name also. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so all these mappings you are applying on that data source. Okay, so you just apply that. Then selected field is apply mappings dot select field. Paths is this. Okay, we just mention the selected fields and all this. Now, so that means like even though you have multiple fields, you can still select few columns or all columns basis your requirement. Okay, where you can specify all this information. Okay, so that is there. And post that, what you can do, resolve choice. Here what you did, you mentioned couple of options. So everything is created by its own. Here then database name, create transaction, redshift DB, table name is redshift this, right? All these informations you are passing. Then you are creating resolver for the destination. This is for the source. This is for the, it's going for the some resolution and all. Post that, it's just executing that task. Blue context dot get catalog sync. Sync is basically this one. This is all about your source. Okay, this is all about your source and this is your sync. The blue catalog dot get catalog sync. Database name is this redshift database. Table name is this redshift table. Okay. And yeah, means it's using something that code is little abstract. You have to just play around. And then job.commit. This is basically the syntax it used. Let's see the status of this job. It's still running. First time it will take time because it will create a EMR cluster and run this job. This is
So if we are going to write the job by ourselves, then we have to do like this.
exactly, you have to write this code.
Oh my God. Okay.
Programmatically, it will be lesser in comparison to Dataframe. Let me quickly send you another job which will write manually and we will execute there, so that you will get some idea. Okay, I just sent some sample code. After this job execution completed, we can try a manual job also. Okay, so we'll also see those manual job. Here in this particular job, I'm applying some data curation. It's just not just a data ingestion activity. Rather, I'm trying to do some aggregations and all. So let's see that job completion, then only we'll get to know things. Yeah, it will take time. Okay. Okay, let it execute. Meanwhile, let's create a manual job by referring the same code what we just copied there. First, we just did some same glue context instantiation and all. Okay, get catalog source, S3 create transaction CSV, transaction DF. Let's see what's the database name we have given. Create transaction DB. So I'm using database name create transaction DB. Table name is S3 create transaction CSV. S3 create transaction CSV. And data frame name is the same data frame. Fine. Post that what I'm doing and applying the same mapping again. Mapping equal to sequence of account number, string, amount, this, date, category, all these things. Here the mapping happened from the source to catalog. Then I want to select only these two columns from this because I want to apply some aggregations. Account number and amount I just picked up. Okay, selected transaction DF. So one good thing is basically, even if we are not comfortable using dynamic frame API of Glue, we can convert it to data frame with just 2DF function. Okay, we can simply change this selected transaction DF, which is nothing but a dynamic frame. So we can convert that to a data frame, Spark data frame. Okay, so this is also Spark data frame, but it's another wrapper around the data frame. We are calling it as dynamic frame. But here you can convert it to data frame. Then after applying that to a data frame, I'm applying group by aggregate account number, aggregate sum of amount. I'm giving the column name same amount. Column show function, it will show that. Okay, post that I'm again converting it to dynamic frame. Dynamic frame, that aggregate DF, blue context. Okay, you saw right, dynamic frame to data frame using 2DF function, data frame to dynamic frame calling dynamic frame function. So the constructor passing this aggregate DF, blue context. Okay, then we have to database name and all these things we have to do. Let's see where's the status. Oh god, it's still taking time. No worries, we can open another tab. We can create another crawler. For that new aggregate table. So what we want to do in this particular new example, we simply want to read the data from the same CSV file from S3 create transaction. We want to create a data frame, then apply some aggregations on that. Okay, so for that we created a separate table here called create transaction ag. Okay, so let's add another crawler for that. Create transaction ag. Is this the name? Job started. Job has already started. Let's see. So execute in one shot. I think these days a lot of good discussions are happening in the DSM group, right? And literally, I'm also like following that. Good questions are coming. It's really good. We had that create transaction S3. So create transaction ag S3. Let me give that name. Okay. Then you store S3. Oh no. It's not from S3. Not from S3 actually. Create transaction redshift. Create transaction and redshift. So JDBC connection, we can reuse the same connection. Path is test DB. Create transaction add, right? That was the name, right? Create transaction add, okay. Same IAM role, what we have created earlier. We have to create a new database name. What are the database available? Create transaction redshift DB. Create transaction redshift DB. Create transaction add redshift DB. Finish. Okay, we just created a new crawler. Let's run this crawler. Meanwhile, let's see if we are lucky or not. Job executed, how to know? Yeah, it looks like job completed only. I'm just saving this because earlier I didn't save it. But how to see the data? I can see the data. Earlier there was no data was there. So let's start from this limit 10. At least Redshift just added that query editor. It's really handy. But yeah, in real-time project, you will not get this access. Because what happened, most of the time developers even don't get access to Redshift console also. You will not be able to, even if you click Redshift, you will not, it will show access denied. But since we just logged in as a root user, that's why all these options are available for us. What happened? Data is not there. Oh, strange, yeah? How come? It's saying it's completed, right? Or some problem happened. Looks like some problem happened there. No, I don't see any error. Anybody see any error? Started trading broadcast variable. Failed connection, refused start. Oh God. STTP, I think some problem happened with that. STTP host connection exception for. This is tricky. Compilation succeeded here. Recording application ID and yarn and DNS for cancellation. Reset default start time, undefined tracking URL this. Pro client token this. Starting and lines aggregator container case. Mutable list partner. Stranger. I can see the result is not coming. Oh God. It's executed error. You don't have any error. Unnecessary. I was just wondering. Nobody's also saying anything. They are saying showing rows 1 to 10 here. It's clearly showing. It's just executed. Okay. It's executed. So we are good. Okay. So first job got executed. At least we should celebrate. It's really, for me at least, it's a good thing. If it is running in one shot, means I become super happy. Okay. Anyways, let's see the next job. Let's see the next job. Okay, so you saw, like, if you just follow this carefully, you should be able to execute it, okay, without any exception. So okay, and here we have to give the database name. What's the new database name we have created? Create transaction ag. Create transaction ag. Create transaction ag redshift db. Table name is redshift test db. Public create transaction ag. Just observe carefully. Just help me here. I'm also not very expert on this. Let's help each other. Okay, make columns, result choices, and create transaction ag redshift db, redshift test db, public create transaction ag temp directory. I think looks like things are correct only. Okay, so we will be creating again another job. Okay, so this job successfully executed. I'm really happy. So let's try another job. S3 to redshift move, and S3 to redshift act table. Then, or basically, uh, yeah, S3 to redshift. Is data curation. I'm using a Spark job. I'm using Scala, Spark with Scala. Okay, I will not do anything. I will just simply follow this. Next.
Siddharth, you want to execute that code, right?
Yes.
So in that option, you need to click that we have the code, right? Manually, click the yes.
Good observation, but I don't know. I didn't try that. That's why I'll be following this approach. Later, I will just change this code. Once it's just automated code, then I'll replace this code.
Okay.
Okay. That can create transaction CSV. Then sync is this ag. If you just participate, it will be interesting. If you just simply just sit idle and after completing also you will not try by your own, then it is frustrating. You know, a lot of interest, a lot of effort I'm putting to just make all latest thing available so that you can just get 100% hike minimum. Definitely, if you show like all these things, no, if you can show glue, delta lake and all, you can easily ask 100%. Easily, it's very easy. Honestly, I'm saying last 3 switches I make, almost every time it's 100% hike. It's pretty much doable. Okay, just a matter of few hours of extra effort. That's it. So let's copy this. Control C. I'm just replacing this code. Okay, and now I'm running this job. I don't know it will execute or not. Let's see. Hmm. Because I have also triggered the same job in my account. Let me see if it just executed in my side. Then it should execute. Yeah, I can see it's mostly executed. Hopefully it should execute for your side also. Yeah, for me it's work. For you also it should work. Let's go for the best. Because if errors are coming, it's very difficult. It's not very difficult, but it will take time to finish. And I have a timeline to. I just decided like I'll be finishing in 2 hours. 2 examples. If this is done, then like in a single session only, I'll just wrap it up. That was the whole agenda. Now, if it is executing fine, then what we will be doing? No, I'll just divide the same programs what we have tried there in Dataframe examples. Okay, all data ingestions and all data ingestions and all data curation. So we can divide among ourselves and we can give it a try. First of all, you have to try these examples. What we tried today, these 2 examples that let's make sure everybody tried by your side. It should take minimum 2 to 3 hours for you. Just follow this, then you should be able to do it. Then maybe Moodle you can give it a try, just like you saw. We created a crawler for S3, read data from S3 and create a crawler, and then in the job we made use of that. Similarly, you can try with the same example we tried in MySQL DB. In MySQL, we created our transaction table, and from that we did the data ingestion. We created a data frame out of it, if you remember. So you can try creating a crawler from MySQL. Okay, Kamaldeep, maybe you can give it a try for the data curation part. Okay, if you remember in the data frame examples, I'll just quickly show you. So Murli, you can give it a try. This example. MySQL. Okay, so then Prabhakar, you can just give it a try. This part. Or just like this aggregation example we are trying, you can try that with finance data analysis. Okay, so I don't trust one person. I have to give multiple people. So finance data analysis, maybe Pratik and Prabhakar, you both can try. If you are able to complete it, we'll see. And for this window functions and all, maybe Jayasri and Sahil, you can give it a try. Sahil, you have bandwidth?
I'm not sure right now. Actually, I've missed a lot of 2-3 sessions in between. So
This is completely independent. We don't have more link with previous sessions.
okay.
So maybe
Okay.
Jayasri, then Saurabh, you can also try. Jayasri, Saurabh, and Sahil, you all three people can just give it a try. This window function example, okay, using this. Okay, pretty straightforward. This is also, we read the data from S3 bucket. Okay, you can read that data and first you create a crawler and then apply the data aggregation. Follow the steps I've just done it here. You can just follow that. You should be able to do this. It takes some time, but you should be able to do it in the day. And just try this example. And Murli and Manan, you can try this data ingestion from RDS. Okay, MySQL table to MySQL table to MySQL table to Redshift. Okay, MySQL table to Redshift. You can try Manan and Murli.
Okay, Siddharth. So for that, we have to create endpoint, right, Siddharth? Reading data from RDS.
I am not sure. You have to just explore. That's what I'm saying. Maybe you have to do, may not be able to do, but if you just search it, you can Google it. But honestly, you will not get a single course available anywhere. I saw one course there available there in what you call this Udemy, but it was not helpful. I just asked for the reimbursement, so it didn't help. I didn't find any course anywhere blue. So you have to search, Google search it. But since people are using, you can definitely get some help for sure. Because I also did the same thing. I got one YouTube video. One guy was explaining nicely S3 to Redshift. I followed that. So, but you can Google search it like how to read data from, how to crawl data from RDS MySQL here in Glue. You should get some solution. You can give it a try. And Srivatsav and Srivatsav, you can give it a try on the other part, MongoDB part, reading data from MongoDB. Okay, so you can just give it a try. So let's try these 3 programs. If you are able to, in this batch, at least if I'm able to get a single program also, I'll be thankful to you, because this happens very rarely. Like honestly, like in every 2 to 3 batches, I get some dedicated people who just add some code to my code base. Let's see if this is happening in this batch or not. But yeah, like it's all like learning it. Even if you try, it's not like I'm just for my own benefit I'm asking you. You will also learn a lot of things, like when you self-try something new, isn't it? That's the whole idea here. So let's see it. It's run. Please just 100% just give it a try. Okay? Saurabh, you have bandwidth, right?
Yes, Siddharth.
What's the timeline, Siddharth, for this?
Okay. Timeline maybe tomorrow end of the day or by Wednesday also you can give it a try.
Okay, that'll be good.
Saurabh, you tried the DynamoDB stuff?
I tried that kinesis part, but I'm facing some compatibility issue. At least I tried with 8 or 9 different version, but still like it didn't work for me.
Which version you tried?
For kinesis, I tried at least 8 or 9 version, but still it didn't work for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Srivastava, you have taken something, right? You tried anything on that? I'm forgetting that. Which assignment you are trying?
Yeah, I took like that. I tried the old one only, that MongoDB one, and also the checkpoints one, like S3 bucket, the checkpoint failure one. Even Kinesis I tried. Like I'm facing some issue. Like I followed some steps which was giving Google, so I completely didn't implement it. But it's, I think it will be done tomorrow. I'll check. So that
Yeah,
like.
Kinesis is not new. It's very, very old. People are using since last 5 years. Because I remember when I was in my last one, then only I was just hearing people are using Kinesis. So just give it a try. Like it should be, you should be able to do this.
Yeah.
And
Like MongoDB filtering part it came, and the other one is like that S3 checkpoint. I'm facing some issues with that. Like I posted in group at
MongoDB filter part, right?
which one? Which one?
Where you faced issue, you're saying?
That checkpoint, like you gave one assignment, like when streaming, we are doing a streaming. So when we are loading the file, once the application starts and stops in between and we rerun it, it should pick from the point where it has ended, right? So I added like dot option, the checkpoint and the checkpoint location. So in that location, it is creating one offset folder. Because of that, like when I rerun it, right, it is throwing some error.
You tried with only S3 source or Kafka also?
I tried with the S3 source.
Try with both. Let's see, like maybe in Kafka and
Yeah, when I googled it, right, like even in local also I tried same thing. It is creating, like instead of S3 I stored in, like I gave the location path as local, my local machine one. Same error I am facing, so I'm not sure, like.
okay. So anybody else trying the checkpointing part? It's an interview question, you know. It's a must interview question everywhere. If somebody is touching upon streaming, means for sure you'll be asking how do you checkpoint? What is the general data type you read from Kafka? Most of the time it is either JSON or Avro. Just try these assignments, okay? If you're really serious about cracking interview in another few weeks, just you should 100% give it an attempt. You have to apply this checkpointing both in Kafka as well as S3, and also you can just give it a try on the other part. Checkpointing is one thing, and you should also try with Kafka, reading data from Kafka as JSON as well as Avro. Source some sample data in JSON and push it to Kafka. You can directly push a file into Kafka also. Just search Google search, the command is there. So you can directly push a file to Kafka. Then you start reading it using a structured streaming. Make use of two JSON, sorry, from JSON function to parse it. And also similarly, you can try with Avro also. Okay, these are must interpretation. Okay, honestly, like
Siddharth, I heard like Kafka is already checkpointed kind of thing, right?
Kafka checkpointing at its own side, but in the consumption, like who is consuming the data, they should also checkpoint, isn't it? Because Kafka is something, it just they keep on storing the new messages as and when it's arriving to that particular topic. So many people can consume the same topic, isn't it? But how it will get to know? It's a publisher-subscriber model. Whoever is subscribing, it's not Kafka's responsibility to just track each consumer has just consumed till which offset. It's the consumer's responsibility to checkpoint, isn't it? In publisher-subscriber model, the publisher will never bother like who is subscribing their data. Its job is to basically make this messages available permanently. Whoever is consuming that, you have to make sure how to maintain the top share. Otherwise, you will end up with processing all this data again and again, which is not a good idea. Right?
Mhm.
And checkpointing is available only in streaming, right? Or it is available on all other.
Batch also.
Pardon me, Siddharth?
The batch also it's available and normal RDD Dataframe everywhere it is available checkpointing.
So while you are calling like the persistent checkpointing in normal RDD and other things, what might be the difference?
Checkpointing as a name suggests, no, means when you are writing it's lengthy pipeline, you are applying hundreds of transformations or tens of transformations. maybe in between your job may fail. So that's why we add multiple hubs in between. Okay, you apply a couple of transformation. Uh, Caching is one concept and checkpointing is one concept. So caching is basically you're storing that data so that subsequent time when they're reading it, it will re-refer from the same cast at your data frame. Another thing is checkpointing. Like if your job is failing, it will not recompute from the beginning, read the data, apply all this transformation. Rather, it will read from the previously checkpointed stage. If you are using checkpointing properly. Anyway, checkpoint is also inbuilt, like as we discussed in the job execution model. That is, every output of the stage also checkpointed, but you can also manually call checkpointing function.
The process also do the same thing. Right?
Both are doing the same thing. Correct. But you can just explore more on that. What's the significance of manual checkpointing? I never use it, but I feel like anyway, like your application is multi-staged, source to staging, staging to intermediate one to intermediate two, then to the provision area. So anyway, I implement it, but still you can inside while doing the data curation itself, you can also incorporate this checkpointing logic. If you know your job may run for longer, or you can think of checkpointing the intermediate RDD or intermediate data frame also. I think this also executed. We can quickly check it. Cool, it's also running. We have 4 account numbers in that data. So we are also getting all these 4 records. Yeah, at least whatever I just decided, I just finished it today. Maybe you can see all these reports are appearing. It's not showing all this. Yeah, all 4 records are appearing. Okay. So that's all for today. Okay. Glue is kind of, if you really look for like 100% hype, you should take it seriously. But the more and more tools you can add in your resume, the better package you can ask. That's the whole idea. These are all bonus features. In fact, don't take it lightly. Like even when you are also working as a lead or senior data engineer role, when you have some smaller pipelines or ad hoc pipelines come on the fly, instead of creating a end-to-end project using IntelliJ, building jar file, creating CI/CD pipeline, you can create small glue pipelines also. Okay, that's how we learn the things, isn't it? Like any tool comes in the market, we start using it in an experimental manner, and by the time it will also grow up, and later you will be able to use it in full-fledgedly. We should start some point, isn't it? It's not like we should wait for 5 years. All people started using it extensively, then only we can use it. So you will not be able to leverage this part, like asking a lot of money for adding new tools. Okay, so for that, like you have to put extra effort. Some new tools are coming, you know, it's promising. It's a product from AWS, and Spark is anyway, it's open source distributed computation engine, which is pretty popular these days. And if some tool is coming, definitely people will be liking this. Okay, so you can also self-evaluate. So these are a couple of steps. Okay, so any other queries before wrapping it up? So take all these assignments. Okay, so assignments are just give it a try. I remember MySQL thing. I just asked it for Murli and Manan, and for finance data analysis, I asked it for Jayashree and Jayashree, Pratik, and so Jayashree, Sahil, and Jayashree, Pratik Prabhakar, right? Finance data analysis.
Yes, yes, that.
And
For me, window function.
It was window function.
so Pratik and Prabhakar is for finance data analysis, right?
Yes.
Pratik, Prabhakar, and
Two only is that.
Yeah, yeah.
Kamal, you can also give it a try. Okay. MySQL DB to sorry, finance data analysis.
Sure, Siddharth.
Okay, and window functions like JST, Srivastav, and where Sahil, right?
You give me Mongo one. MongoDB.
Srivastava is MongoDB. So window functions, Jayasree, Sahil, and Saurabh. Okay. Okay. And MongoDB things, Srivastava will help us. Okay, just give it a try. Okay, we'll again connect tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll let's see like if I'll be able to start this part called code is ready. I just need to organize it. Same thing like Blue also it was there, but I was not getting time to make it presentable so that I should be able to run it in one shot so that I'll not waste a lot of time. So that's the whole reason I just took this much of time. Otherwise, similarly, Delta Lake code is also ready. Okay, so we can. I'll try to like start tomorrow. It will take one session only. I'll try to wrap it up in one session, and yeah, post that we'll be continuing with the project plan. Okay, thanks everybody. Yeah, bye bye.
Siddharth, just share now itself the video. Sorry, recording. Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.